This is Dan Bedandi reporting for the InfoWars Nightly News. You're always told that the American dream was owning your own home, driving a nice car, having a big family. But in addition, paying your dues to society by joining the armed forces, as seen by many as the right thing to do. But what if I was to tell you that in some cases, joining the military isn't exactly about defending our country, but about being a human test guinea pig for military classified medical experiments, which includes force medicated by drugs, inoculations, inhalation of poisonous gases, and even torture by electrical shocks. Now let's take a good look at this article from CNN. CNN reports vets feel abandoned after secret drug experiments. The moment 18-year-old Private Tim Joseph arrived at Edgewood Arsenal in 1968, he knew there was something different about the place. It just didn't look like a military base, more like a hospital, recalls Joseph, a Pittsburgh native. He quotes, "It was like a plum assignment. The idea they would be testing new Army field jackets, clothing, weapons, and things of that nature, but no mention of drugs or chemicals. But when he went to fill out the paperwork the morning after his arrival, the base personnel were wearing white lab coats, and Joseph said that he had second thoughts. An officer took him aside and told him, if you don't do it, you're going to jail." And then from 1955 to 1975, military researchers at Edgewood were using not only animals but human subjects to test witches' brews of drugs and chemicals. They range from potentially lethal nerve gases like VX and sarin to incapacitating agents like BZ. And the military also tested tear gas, tranquilizers, narcotics, hallucinogens like LSD. In this first report, it's a U.S. Army Chemical Research and Development Laboratories technical report. And as we scroll through the document, you can see the chemicals that they use in reactions of BZ. And in this next document, it's called The Effects of Drugs on Human Operant Performance. And as we scroll through this document, in the highlights, you could clearly see that the United States Army used humans for test subjects. In this public record, titled Exclusive CIA Experiments on U.S. Soldiers Linked to Torture Program, a number of new articles have been published recently that have highlighted evidence of illegal human experimentation on U.S.-held terrorism prisoners undergoing torture. Then the article goes on to state that this report looks at those recent charges and reveals that experiments by a CIA researcher on human subjects undergoing SERE training went unreported in the legal memos of the Bush administration drafted to approve their torture program. It will also connect major military and intelligence figures to the SERE experiments and tie some of them to major science and experimental directorates at the CIA and Special Operations Command. And this article exposes the sinister plot called Project Shipboard Hazard and Defense, known as SHAD, was a program started back in the early 1960s to learn the vulnerabilities of U.S. warships during chemical and biological warfare attacks. Under Project SHAD were 113 different operations or tests. U.S. naval crews and Marine personnel were spraying various biological, chemical, germ warfare agents and simulants. Some ships and even Marine personnel were sprayed from overflying aircraft, while other tests on ships were being sprayed by aircraft carriers. While some high-ranking personnel may have had knowledge of what was happening, most of the ship's crews did not. Project SHAD was controlled by the U.S. Army Desert Test Center, later known as the Dugway Proving Grounds in Utah. And for over 35 years, the Department of Defense said there was no Project SHAD. This report and these military classified documents you have just seen are nothing but the tip of the iceberg. And keep in mind, folks, that most military are completely unaware that they are being tested on by their own government. In part 2 of this special report, we're going to look at government admission of using troops as guinea pigs and its links to suicides. And this is Dan Bedandi reporting for the InfoWars Nightly News.